Very good afternoon. We were discussing about role of infection control committee in hospital. That is our topic. Last class we were discussed about nosocomial infection and causes of nosocomial infection, how this hospital-borne infection is assessed, and what are the various ways in which worldwide steps were taken to protect patients from these type of infections. So, in continuation of the discussion, functions of infection control committee was the last discussion when we are discussing in last class. Functions of infection control committee. The infection control committee should be there as an monitoring system in the hospital about infections. So they will keep updating their knowledge of the hospital personnel and practices. Everything will be reviewed. They will adopt new policies and systems to eradicate such incidents of any infection related issues in the hospital. Functions of infection control committee is all in and around that with the same objectives only. Implementation of infection control policies is their main aim. So once the policy is implemented, that everyone should follow. It is like a legislation inside that hospital. So supervision of standards of personal care in regards to infections control. So people are involving in patient care, so that healthcare people's health also to be protected. So necessary standards should be maintained to implement care of their health also. Education and orientation program for professional staff is always necessary. For example, in the current scenario, we know how the COVID-19 is spreading. We all know how this knowledge we gained because everywhere from every possible resources we were educated how this COVID-19 is spreading and how we should take care ourselves. So this kind of education programs everywhere should be conducted. If you take a small setup of hospital, in hospital, we have to conduct regular meetings and we should update their knowledge. Surveillance of hospital acquired infections. So we have to keep monitoring, that is monitoring system, that is only called surveillance. Standards of hospital domestic cleaning and food services and their hygiene. That is another role of ICC. Management of visitors in isolation circumstances. How many times once visitors can be permitted? What are the precautionary steps to be taken? The patient may get infected or the visitors may get infected from the hospital. Both of side possibilities are there. Matters of general hospital organization and purchasing where these may affect infection control. So such matters that should be dealt by infection control committee. Establishment and supervision of infection control team. So that is also their duty. Submit an activity report and statistical data. How was last year? How it is now? Whether it is improved, whether it is going worse, same. So such information statistically collecting. That is also a primary role of infection control committee in a hospital. Apart from this, the ICC has the following task in hospital. To review and approve the annual plan for infection control. Every year, how we are making budgeting in the hospital, annual plan for infection control to be made. To review and approve the infection control policies. If there is no improvement, then definitely we should review the policies and systems what we are adopted. To support the IC team and direct resources to address problem as identified. So that is another task. To ensure availability of appropriate supplies, so gloves, necessary protective measures, sanitizers, all we should procure at right time and we have enough stock. To review epidemiological surveillance data and identify area for intervention. All these are the tasks of ICC. ICC has, in continuation of that, to assess and promote improve practices at all levels of the healthcare facility. So everybody are following or not. If one person fails also, it is a teamwork. Infection control is a key marker. So that system to be monitored. Ensure appropriate training in infection control and safety. Always we should update the people's knowledge. Any new persons who are joining, they should be identified and training should be conducted. To review risks associated with new technology and new devices prior to their approval for use. So suddenly, adopting a new policy, new changes, we have to evaluate their performance continuously. To review and provide input into an outbreak investigation. So that system should be there. Then only we can come to know the actual cause of the problem. The hospital ICC is in charge with the responsibility for the planning, evaluation of evidence-based practices and implementation, prioritization and resource allocation of all matters relating to infection control. So they have all these responsibilities. The ICC must have a reporting relationship directly to either administration or the medical staff to promote infection control program visibility and effectiveness. So it is a mediating team between the hospital administration and the medical staff. So then only immediate actions will be taken. Then infection control team. We are discussed about the functions of committee. Committee is a high-level organization that implements, designs policy, and to execute that policy, we need a team. That team directly supervise the healthcare related, that is infection control related activities in the hospital. So that team, what is their function? Detects and investigate hospital-acquired infections. They directly deal the reported infections, how it has occurred, everything. They'll collect informations. Investigation on environmental problems related to hospital infections. How in this particular environment only this is possible or what. So such investigations. Detects community-acquired infections in the hospital and refer them to the appropriate authority follow-up. Community only in this particular ward, this particular area of people, like that information that will be gathered and necessary steps will be taken. Prompts initiation by physician of hospital infection report. Take up necessary follow-up measures of nosocomial infections causes after discharge from the hospital or periodic laboratory monitoring. Assist in the development and review of infection control procedures to be forwarded to the central committee annually. Monitoring of hospital policy compliance on isolation procedures. Development and implementation of employees in service orientation program related to infection control. Monitoring the effectiveness of infection control program. Organizing employee health programs. Guiding and monitoring of hospital infection through the cleaning company, catering agency, water supply department, and other environmental agencies. See, this all we discussed under ICC, the role of ICC. The role of ICC, the difference is ICT, that infection control team is directly supervising all these activities. It was discussed in the meeting, now it is directly implemented, that is monitored by this team. So that is the difference. Okay. Next is infection control nurse, ICN. They are we have discussed about the various members of the ICC, Infection Control Committee. First is the one microbiologist physician in the hospital. He will be the chief of this committee, and all the heads of hospital departments, doctors, they will be other members, and then the chief nurse of the hospital. They are the main member, secretary of this committee, and the chief pharmacist also there in this committee. Primary responsibilities with the nursing team because they are only directly supervising in the wards. So in wards only these infection related things are very common. So the activities should be directly supervised by nurses. So what is their role? Minimum of one full-time nurse for 200 to 250 beds should be appointed in a hospital, especially for monitoring this infection control related job. So they are called infection control nurse only, ICN. Their only job is analyzing the incidence of infection related to the hospital, checking wards and clinics to detect and record hospital acquired infections, if anything is there or what. All the incidents will be documented and it should be reviewed in point of view that whether it is acquired from the hospital or while admitting during the hospital itself, this problem was there with this patient. Investigation of hospital-based infection to determine if inadequate procedures may have contributed, that kind of investigations. In conjunction with the technical officer to purchase apparent incidence of cross infections, if anything is there or what, that will be investigated by infection control nurses. Surveillance of isolation procedures, how isolation is taking place. For example, ICU, how it is maintained, that is supervision. Surveillance of nursing practices, where they are related to infection. One patient, after attending another patient, attending one patient to another patient, how nurses are maintaining cleanliness, whether hand wash, everything is properly done or what, that all will be supervised. The sterile techniques, whether they are using sterile equipments only, sterile syringes only, disposables or disposed or what, all they will monitor. Monitoring of food hygiene and health of food handling staff. Main reason, because we are not allowing outside food, we are giving inpatients with their hospital made food. So whether the quality is good and it is served by a person with proper care or what, that all will be verified by nurses in the ward. Conduct educational programs in infection control for all new nurses and paramedical staff in conjunction with medical and technical officers. Monitoring collection and disposal of infected waste. Always waste will be generated, clinical waste will be generated in the wards. How it all disposed and from the ward, that all will be monitored. Preparation of infection control statistics for infection control committee. So every meeting they have to come with statistics and discuss about the incidence of infection related problem reported in the hospital. These are the role of nurses. In our example, we will be asked a question: what is the role of pharmacist in infection control in hospital? Pharmacists are not directly involved in the wards in the clinical sections, but they can monitor. They have options to monitor the prescriptions. They have options to educate the healthcare professionals. They can take a lead role as an secretary of pharmacy and therapeutic committee, and purchases made in hospital, manufacturing made in hospital. In all level, they can control infection in hospital. How they can control? See, pharmacists are able to help ensure optimal antimicrobial selections. That is main job of the hospital. How these antimicrobials and antibiotics are rationally prescribed and used in hospital. If that is supervised by pharmacists and the necessary actions were taken at right time, the sensitivity and resistance created for antibiotics, that all problems will be solved. Antibiotic selection, dosing, and monitoring, collaborate to develop treatment guidelines, therapeutic interchanges, and antimicrobial formulary selection, as well as provide healthcare work and patient education. These all collectively given in one paragraph, how a pharmacist play a role in infection control in hospital. One by one we'll see. Surveillance of antimicrobial usage, how it is used in the prescriptions, how rationally, how frequently used in the inpatient wards. All will be monitored by their usage because they will come to know the stock and issue. And formulary review. That is a job of a pharmacist. So if it is mentioned in the formulary only, it will be used. So we have to make necessary policies We have to make necessary therapeutic guidelines. Accordingly, we have to list these are the antibiotics for this kind of problems. Then it will be included in the formulary. Then only it will be used. If any problems related to any antimicrobials with the necessary discussion in BTC, you can remove that antimicrobials, ineffective antibiotics from the formulary system. Compounding, handling, and storing of sterile products. We are doing as a pharmacist. We are doing manufacturing, sterile manufacturing products in hospital, sterile products. That products should be manufactured with proper standards, should be stored in a proper way, and labeled in a proper way. So then only the infections related to the product can be avoided. So all sterile products should be supervised by pharmacists during manufacturing. Implementing policies such as intravenous to oral switches and surgical prophylaxis. Yeah, that we have to suggest other options instead of intravenous injections. We can go for oral therapy also. That is also suitable in this case. Unnecessary usage of intravenous that can be avoided. And like that, during surgeries, we have to administer antibiotics as a prophylaxis to avoid infections. That is also there in practice in hospitals. So that will be monitored by pharmacists. Education of staff. Pharmacists have enough time to educate staff and also have thorough knowledge about medicines. So they are the right persons can educate about their usages, thereby they control infections in hospital. Education of staff, and then specialist review of individual patients. They can monitor, they can counsel the patients and find out any acquired infections are found in the patients when they are approaching pharmacist. Therapeutic drug monitoring can be done by pharmacists, thereby they can assess infections if any, and providing advice to the patients to how they can avoid infections in future. That education they can give. Safe practice for parenteral nutrition, TPN. We discussed about TPN. Parenteral nutrition, how it should be safely handled. What are the various ways it may attract infections at the site of administration. That all to be educated to the healthcare professionals, those who are handling TPN. The clinical activities may help reduce antimicrobial resistance or infection persistence, prevent transmission of diseases, improve patient outcomes, and decrease health system cost. They can analyze the cost of prescriptions based on the antibiotic usage also. So always the assessment of pharmacists will be helpful in hospital. Then role of pharmacist in continuation. Advising the health system on the selection and use of appropriate antiseptics, disinfectants, and sterilants. This is for non-medical purposes. We use it as for cleaning purposes, antiseptic, disinfectants, and sterilants. These all will be purchased and given in the hospital. So what is the strength in which it should be used, how it should be handled with the gloves or without gloves, can touch our skin, whether it may irritate. So all these informations on how in which are the objects should be cleaned with, which type of sterilants. This all information should be educated by pharmacists. Hospital pharmacists must provide specialist pharmaceutical advice to multidisciplinary infection prevention team. The need for more qualitative audits of antimicrobial usage to be done by the pharmacist. The stipulation to be made that surgical prophylactic antimicrobials should be given half an hour before surgery for optimal effect. So it should not be given continuously. Only surgery before, half an hour before, we can give as a prophylactics. Motivation of staff to decrease infection rate and proactive use of surveillance data to derive antimicrobial improvement initiatives. Safe use of automated compounding devices for preparation of parenteral nutrition admixtures. We are mixing other medicines with IV fluids. During that time, there is chances of infection, transmission of microbes. So if you are using automated systems, these problems Manual handling will be avoided. So that should be adopted in hospital. Suppose that is the reason the infection is spreading in hospital. If it is identified, this is the alternative way. Following proper guidelines on quality assurance for pharmacy prepared sterile products. We have to monitor and maintain quality assurance. Encouraging the use of single dose packages of sterile drug products instead of multiple dose containers. Multiple dose containers, repeatedly we are taking, there is contamination is possible. So in hospital setup, so we can use one single dose products. So cross contamination can be avoided. Recommending policies for the frequency of changing intravenous administration sets or monitoring equipments, other invasive products, and dressing. So, how many days once the dressing should be changed? The intravenous sets should be changed. Whether the same set can be used for more than a week is all to be monitored and educated to the nursing staff. Recommending proper labeling, dating, and storage of sterile products and multi-dose sterile products containers. That is the responsibility of the pharmacist. They have to assess the safety by ensuring proper labeling and dating and how long we can use once the container is open. Encouraging routine immunization of appropriate individuals and periodic screening of selected transmissible diseases. We have to encourage such immunization programs in hospital. Recommending policies for the frequency of changing ventilator tubing and other non-invasive patient devices that may serve as source of infection. Invasive drip sets, how we are changing, like that non-invasive, which are used on the superficially, also that devices also to be changed frequently, 3 days once, 2 days once, how the ventilator tubings can be changed. Standard operating procedures to be made and it should be circulated among the medical staff. Developing guidelines for risk assessment, treatment, and monitoring of patients and healthcare workers who have been in contact with person with a transmissible infectious diseases. So, if severe cases, contagious diseases are admitted in patients are admitted in hospital, how they should be taken care. The monitoring team, how they should be those medical people also how they should be monitored their health and necessary precautionary steps how it should be taken, all to be educated and systematic procedures to be followed in hospital. Next important role is the pharmacist is the main member of antimicrobial stewardship. They should function as a main member in the committee. They should monitor the appropriate usage of antibiotics in the hospital. Antimicrobial stewardship. Involvement of pharmacists within infection control efforts have evolved. Specifically, the role of a pharmacist in an antimicrobial stewardship program has been recognized by national committees. In America, United States of America, American Society of Health System of Pharmacists, ASHP is there. It's a professional body that recommends that in 2010 they made a statement that the pharmacist's role in antimicrobial stewardship and infection control, prevention and control in hospital is very important. And they given in what are the various way the pharmacist can control infections by taking part in this stewardship program. By taking part in the stewardship program, working with the microbiology laboratory to ensure that appropriate microbial susceptibility tests are reported on individual patients with a timely manner, whether microbial susceptibility test is done or not for these kind of patients, and assessing the laboratory in compiling susceptibility reports. If it is done, all to be documented, compiled annually, 1 year, how many susceptibility reports are taken, how the prescriptions were made. For distribution to prescribers within the health system to guide empirical therapy. By collecting such a data, we have this age group patient with this so-and-so problem. For him, this antibiotics is effective, this is not effective, but this is prescribed for this patient. This is unnecessary prescription. This is not effective. It is found by susceptibility test. Like that, information should be given during discussions of annual meetings of infection control committee. That is the role of pharmacist. These reports may be most effective if categorized by infection site. For example, urinary pathogens. For urinary pathogens, these antibiotics were prescribed, but it is found that these are ineffective. Respiratory pathogens, blood pathogens, like that category wise we can classify, and accordingly their susceptibility on patients, that reports can be collected. Also, the patient, the reports can be categorized into patient care area. For example, intensive care unit, this is the susceptibility level. In oncology unit, this is the level. Pediatrics, this is the level. So we can find out which type of antibiotics are not effective at all. So we have to review our procedures. We have to go for a new antibiotic. In this case. Role of pharmacist in educational activities. Pharmacists should train healthcare professionals in the hospital and educate them to avoid any possible infections from their side. Providing clinical conferences, newsletters, that is all our responsibility. And other type of educational forums for health professionals on topics such as antimicrobial use and resistance, decontaminating agents, disinfectants, antiseptics, sterilants, aseptic techniques, procedures, sterilization method, all should be conducted in form of any article, by writing an article in a newsletter or by conducting any conference. Educating and counseling inpatients, ambulatory care patients, and home care patients in the following areas like adherence to prescribed directions for antimicrobials, use, storing, handling medications, and administration devices and other infection control procedures. So we have to educate uh, patients. Participating in public health education and awareness programs aimed at controlling the spread of infectious diseases by promoting prudent use of antimicrobials, providing immunization access for children and adults, promoting appropriate infection control measures, that is proper hand washing technique. Nowadays, we all know what the importance of hand washing. It is all there from the beginning, many years before only World Health Organization is recommending. But it is nowadays we are repeatedly hearing, so now we know, come to know the importance of hand wash. The hand wash only stop many of the infections transmission. Every hospital should have a nosocomial infection prevention manual. So we should know what are the different type of infections possible in hospital, how it can be prevented from our level, how it can be treated from our level. This is called this infection control manual. Instructions and practices for patient care should be listed under manual. The manual should be developed and updated in a timely manner by the infection control team. So suppose you imagine now a hospital is having infection control manual. Everybody will review now. They will update now. They will include COVID-19 related information in that. It is a highly transmissible disease, patient to patient, very quickly transmissible. So how it transmitting, how the care should be taken, what are the signs and symptoms, how can be prevented from our level. That all will be there in this manual. It is to be reviewed and accepted by infection control committee. That is important. So the program components, infection control program components are surveillance, preventive activities, staff training. These three are the main activities. Thereby we can control infections in hospital, and we should make it mandatory that model good hand washing, hand hygiene practices in hospital. Encourage others to do the same. Maintain hand hygiene. Supply for your that hospital. Maintain soap and paper products for your that in the hospital wards. And then we should encourage hand washing with plain soap in mechanical removal of soil and transient bacteria by doing it for minimum of 15 to 20 seconds. And then hand antisepsis in removal and destroy of transient flora using antimicrobial soap or alcohol based hand rubs for 60 seconds. Like that, that information should be passed to all the healthcare professionals. This is the way we can control infections in hospital. With this, I'm closing this entire discussion. Infection control in hospital. role of pharmacist in infection control.